HowExpert! HowExpert publishes quick how-to guides on all topics from A to Z by everyday experts. Visit HowExpert.com to learn more. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more HowExpert Top 10 videos in the future. Moving on, let's talk about the HowExpert Top 10 Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu moves. Number 10. Heel hook. The heel hook is one of the most effective finishes in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. It's also one of the most damaging because it attacks in two areas, the ankle and the knee. To execute the heel hook, first the attacker will isolate the opponent's leg. The attacker will pull the opponent's leg between their thighs and squeeze their knees together above the opponent's knee. The goal is to control the hip and knee joint. Once the attacker isolates the leg, there are a few ways to attack the heel, but the idea is to twist the heel, which puts pressure on the ankle and the knee. The heel hook is effective because it doesn't require very much strength to turn the foot, and it is excruciating on the opponent, which will cause them to tap out, which is how to win a match in Jiu-Jitsu. Because of the injury risk, this move is not allowed for beginners in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu competitions, and is frowned upon being used in some gyms. Number 9. Ezekiel Choke. The Ezekiel Choke is one of the most common chokes in which the attacker uses their gi or kimono to get the finish. The attacker needs to put one arm behind and around the opponent's neck. The hand on that arm slips 4 fingers into the sleeve of the opposite arm. The opposite hand then works as a blade, coming over the throat and making a scissoring motion with the hands. This is a swift move that doesn't need much setup, which can make it sneaky. It is most popular to execute from a top position, but the choke is also threatening from the bottom. Number 8. Americana. The Americana puts pressure on the shoulder joint, and the attacker can perform it from any top position. To do the Americana, the attacker must pin the opponent's wrist, their fingers pointing up and hand above the shoulder line. The attacker will slide their other hand underneath the opponent's triceps on the same arm, grabbing their wrist. They will create leverage with the arm under the triceps to lift the elbow off the ground, which causes tremendous pressure on the shoulder. Number 7. Cross-collar choke. The cross-collar choke is another move that uses the gi or kimono to choke the opponent. While facing the opponent, the attacker reaches across the opponent's body and gets a deep grip on the collar. For example, the right hand of the attacker to the opponent's right side collar. The attacker's hand should grip the collar as close to the back of the neck as possible. Then the attacker uses their free hand on the opposite collar and squeezes the neck between the two grips. The attacker can attempt this move any time they are chest to chest with the opponent and the opponent is not protecting their neck. Number 6. Guillotine. The guillotine is a simple move that is taught to beginners, but is effective through all skill levels. The guillotine traps the opponent's neck between the armpit and forearm of the attacker. This puts pressure on the carotid arteries and the windpipe. The attacker will get the back of the opponent's neck in their armpit and scoop the forearm on the same arm under the opponent's neck. The attacker will then squeeze the neck and lean back to get the finish. This move works very well when an opponent is trying to get a takedown and attacks with their head down. The attacker grabs their opposite hand of the choking arm for a tighter squeeze to optimize this move, but this choke can be finished with one arm. Number 5. Arm triangle. The arm triangle is a powerful choke that is done from the top mount position. To perform it, the attacker traps the opponent's shoulder upwards against their head. The attacker will then place their head on the ground to pin the opponent's arm, then use their opposite side arm to slide behind the opponent's neck and join hands together. The attacker squeezes their hand together and drives their shoulder into the opponent's neck. This move works very well from the mount position and is difficult for the opponent to escape. To optimize this move, the attacker can walk their legs further away from the opponent on the side of the pinned arm. Number 4. Kimura. The Kimura is a powerful move that applies pressure to an opponent's shoulder. It is usually performed while in the bottom guard position. The attacker has to force their opponent's hands to the ground while they're in the guard. When their hands hit the ground, the attacker must grab their wrist using the hand on the same side. The attacker then sits up and reaches their opposite hand behind the shoulder of the arm that is pinned down and grabs their own wrist. The attacker can then push their opponent's arm behind their back and up towards the back of the head. This is very painful on the shoulder and very difficult for the opponent to escape. Number 3. Straight Armbar. The king of arm attacks. The straight armbar hyperextends the arm at the elbow. It is executed from many positions. One of the most popular would be from the mount position, sitting on top of the opponent, chest to chest. The attacker will pull the opponent's arm between his thighs and fall to the side of the arm. They are making sure to push one hamstring against the opponent's neck and one on the chest on each side of the arm. The attacker will then bridge their hips and pull down on the wrist. Driving the hips into the triceps area creates a lever to break the elbow. If the opponent does not tap out, they risk torn ligaments or a broken arm. Number 2. Triangle. The triangle is a forceful choke performed with the legs and can be done from the bottom guard position. Starting on the ground, the attacker has to trap one of their opponent's arms. They will then kick the leg on the opposite side of the trapped arm around the opponent's neck. Then, put the back of the knee around the neck, bending it to keep it in place. With the head and arm now trapped between the legs, the attacker will lift his other leg and wrap it around the foot that is around the neck. The attacker will turn to the side of the trapped arm and squeeze their legs together to finish. Number 1. Rear Naked Choke. The rear naked choke is the most effective in Jiu-Jitsu with the highest success rate. It is so effective because it is performed on the opponent's back, where they can't attack. They can only try to escape. From the back mount, the attacker wraps one arm around the neck and places that hand on their other bicep. This traps the neck. Then they place the available hand behind the head of the opponent and squeeze the neck. Once the neck is trapped, it is tough for the opponent to escape and easy for the attacker to finish. If you liked our video, be sure to click like and subscribe for more HowExpert Top 10 videos for all topics from A to Z in the future. Also, let us know what other topics you want us to do a HowExpert Top 10 video in the future in the comments below. Thank you. Have an amazing day and take care. HowExpert publishes quick how-to guides on all topics from A to Z by everyday experts. Visit HowExpert.com to learn more.